my name is Sydney Graf, and this is my highlight video for my ePortfolio for the Building Leadership Program. So jumping right into my candidate info, here you can see my video that I've posted that has me discussing things about myself and about my goals that I have for the next 5 and 10 years. That was pretty fun to do, to actually sit down and really think about and anticipate what I'd want my goals for myself to be. So moving into my leadership philosophy, I feel like this is something that is continuously kind of adapting and changing as you gain those new experiences in the role of an administrator and even just life in general. But one of my first lines on my philosophy is, being true to who you are. I believe in that wholeheartedly. I think it's very important to be authentic, to be transparent with your staff, to be consistent. They'll know what to expect from you. I believe in being honest, and I believe in that empowerment. I want my staff to be able to see their own strengths, and I feel like it's a big part of my job to allow them to see all the positives in themselves that I see in them. Then I have my plan of study here that I went in and edited and added in my courses that I took, and it includes the semesters and dates that those were taken and completed as well. So you can see all of those here. And then I had my resume, again, kind of like my leadership philosophy. This is always changing and adapting based on those experiences that you're able to be a part of. So you can see down here is one of my most recent resumes that has been updated. So there's that. So moving into my activity section, starting with my activity form, this highlights all of the activities that I did to get my 150 hours in, which I believe I went over, but I kind of wrote them all down so that I could put them in at the same time so that they could be organized in the district, secondary, and elementary levels. So you can see here those levels and the standards that they touch on based on what task I performed and then how many hours went into performing those tasks. So you can see all of those activities here. My administrative verification, I have those meetings set up with all 3 of my administrative levels so that we can get those forms signed and put on my portfolio here after I highlight my portfolio to them and they ask me questions if they have them. So going into my annotated bibliography, I will say this was probably one of the more difficult things for me because I was very picky about which articles I chose to go with each of the standards. And questions, the questions relate back to the standards is maybe more, I guess, of what I should say, but you can see here all the different questions and then the 3 articles that I chose to go with each question, and then, summarizing it and what it means to me as a future administrator and how it would impact me overall. So there is my annotated bibliography. Going into my slides now, I'll start at my district level slides. If it decides to go there, it's thinking about it. There we go. All right, so for my district activities on my first slide as it loads, I attended the State of the District address. And this was a very awesome experience for me to get to attend because earlier in the year, I was part of a large group of people that really came together and worked on what we felt would be important things to note in our next 5-year strategic plan. And it was great to attend the State of the District address because I got to see all of that hard work really just come together and be presented by our superintendent. So next I was able to give a presentation at one of our district professional development days that we call our Big Cat Conference. I got to give a presentation on trauma, which is something very near and dear to my heart that I'm passionate about. And over here on my artifacts, you can see that I have, words underlined here, and these are actually links to take you to my actual artifacts. So this here is a copy of my presentation that I was able to give on the faces of trauma. So that was a very exciting thing for me to get to do. Going on to my next slide, I was able to attend a K-4 parent meeting, kind of a question and answer, what you wish you knew types of questions with a very, very capable staff on a panel for parents to ask questions to and explain things to them, mostly in regards to special education and the process of all of those types of things. Um, in this particular event, I was actually stepping in for my administrator, so it was great to see and experience what it was like to kind of open your building to everyone and then also be the last person there to kind of close everything and make sure it was going well and everything was locked up as it should be. I'm going to my next slide. This was the event that I was speaking about when I was talking about the State of the District address. This was the community retreat where that whole large group of people were able to come together to really focus in on what we wanted our next 5-year strategic plan to kind of encompass. I was also able to attend a K-12 principals meeting that had to be approved by our superintendent in order for me to attend. So felt very honored that I was able to go to some of these things that I was able to. Um, for me, the best part about seeing this meeting was being in a room with administrators where they're all comfortable with each other and getting to witness them with their guards down a little bit and really let some of their personalities come out. That was a really great thing to see. So going on to my elementary level slides, this is the area in which if I were to become an administrator, I would be interested in. So I do have more slides on my elementary slides than on my others. So my first activity that I chose was attending an event called So You Want to Be an Administrator or So You Want to Be a Principal. And this was a great experience for me because I got to really collaborate with prospective administrators as well as current administrators. But what I really took away from this was it really opened my eyes to new organizations that I could reach out to as an administrator in order to allow me to grow in that professional area. I also was able to be one of 3 people who my principal sent to a behavior leadership conference. This was also a great experience because it was really the starting point of us developing kind of a tiered system of supports for behaviors within our building. Next, I got to be a part of a English Language Arts Curriculum Adoption Committee. This had so much time and effort put into it, but it was worth every day spent outside of my classroom to know that I was a part of something that was so intricately done to make sure that we chose the correct curriculum for all of our students for our district. And it was just something really great to be a part of. Next, these are choice boards that have been modified based on the continuous learning plans that are happening within the homes of our students right now. I was able to take, general education choice boards and learning plans and modify and adapt them, as well as bring in all of our related service providers and include social emotional supports on there as well. So that was exciting to get to do. These are some of our platforms that I was able to look at the building level for summative and formative assessments. It was very interesting to be able to get to analyze this data at a building level versus just a classroom or individualized student level. Moving on to this one, it's very similar to the previous one, although this one is more at the curriculum level base versus, just in general assessments on how a student is doing in a specific area. This one is more about how they're responding to the curriculum and the progress that they're making. I was able to be a part of creating a family contact plan for our students who are currently at home learning, who are maybe at risk or otherwise unengaged. So that was great to be a part of that and be able to figure out how we were going to reach those families that are unengaged. I was able to advocate for the K-4 special education teachers. We were able, through discussions, to see that there was a need possibly for some additional curriculum supplies. So I was able to reach out to our superintendent and advocate for everyone at that level in our district for those supplies. I was able to interview people for our building at both the certified and classified level. So it was great to be a part of that and kind of see the differences between a certified versus a classified interview as well. I also am currently a supervisor for some of our classified staff within the building, And so I'm able to provide professional development for them and make sure that I'm choosing things that are worth their while, but will also allow them to grow in their profession as well. So going on into my secondary slides. I believe on my first slide, I talk about being able to look at a district's mission statement, sorry, not vision, mission statement. I was able to look at a district other than my own's mission statement and really get to reflect on what that mission statement was and how I was seeing it put into play through the actions of the staff there, as well as compare it to my own district's mission statement. So that was an interesting task to get to do, and I really enjoyed it. I was able to attend a gifted IEP. This was great for me to see because I'm not used to going to an IEP at the secondary level in which a student is able to attend, as well as just getting able to see a team really come together to support this child so that they're able to move forward with their goals. That was a really nice thing to be a part of and witness at a different level than my own. Um, Due to Governor Kelly's orders of schools being shut down to COVID-19, I was unable to finish some of my last few days in a building to, gain those experiences to hit all these standards. So I did have to reopen some of my case studies and kind of reflect back on those again. So that was nice to see as well. And on this standard, it's another one where I had to kind of essentially relook at a case study to make sure that I was able to apply this to the secondary level and apply it to those needed standards. For this particular section and standard, I was able to attend an expulsion hearing. And I will just say that I feel as though that is something you can never really be prepared for unless if you are there and are a part of it. So that was a very, very unique experience. And I felt very humbled to be able to attend something like that as well. I was able to assist in handing out, tardies and detentions. And the reason, though, why I chose to place it under this standard rather than, operations and management was because there's really a trust that has to come from your staff and knowing that what they're telling you and knowing that you then have to go out and sometimes investigate these things on cameras, and the communication that happens between staff and the students and the parents is a really really big task, and making sure you get every single component, which is why I chose it to place that under this standard. And then finally, I was able to go into a classroom and observe a teacher for her Keep To process, as well as then later provide feedback from a previous observation to another teacher. So those are also great things to experience in the administrative role. So going on to my reflection, I really, really enjoyed this. It kind of helps you feel like everything is coming together and that you're, really finishing up and coming to the end of your journey here on the program. I will have to embarrassingly admit that I have kind of always been afraid of the principal's office, so to say, and now here I am stepping into a program where I essentially could become the person in the principal's office. But what I will say is I learned so much. I really learned that there are so many things that go on behind the scenes that as a teacher you don't realize are even happening. So in those moments when you feel that perhaps maybe your administrator isn't as present as you would like them to be, or maybe you feel as though they're not advocating for you, I have learned that I assure you they are. There are just so many things that happen behind the scenes that you don't think about. I've also learned to learn the strengths of your staff, so that you're able to let them really focus and highlight those strengths and be able to delegate tasks to them so that you're able to manage everything well and efficiently. And then also here at the end of my reflection, I was able to reflect back on all the activities that were performed within the courses that I took, as well as kind of reflect on how those specific tasks helped me to become a future administrator. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this presentation of my ePortfolio, and I just want to thank you so much for your time and the wealth of knowledge that you've allowed me to gain throughout this journey. Thanks.